My name is Joseph Jacob. You are watching Writing Tips. This is the first of 3 videos that will demystify Concord. The Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines concord as a grammatical agreement. What this simple and concise definition means is that whenever we construct a sentence, all the parts of speech that made up that sentence should be in agreement. This agreement can manifest itself in different forms. The first one is that it can be in terms of gender. And when we talk about gender, we are simply referring to male or female. So when we make a sentence about a male, all the words we choose to use should be consistent with the fact that the person we are referring to is a male. The same thing applies when we are referring to a woman. We should be consistent in every word, all the pronouns we will use to show that the person we are referring to is a female. For example, Uche is a handsome boy. She looks like her mother. There is no agreement in this sentence because in the first part of the sentence, we understand that Uche is a boy. So if he is a boy, we are not expected to see words like she and her. Rather, we'll see he looks like his mother. So in this sentence we are considering, there is no agreement, and that is why it is confusing and very difficult to understand. Concord can also manifest itself in terms of tense. We know that tense helps us to know the time when an action took place or will take place, or whether the action is currently taking place. It also helps us to know how long an action took place in the past or will take place in the future or is currently going on. So Concord in terms of tenses will help us not to confuse the tense we are using in a sentence. Look at this example. I will travel to Helsinki yesterday. Do you think there is an agreement in this sentence? Definitely not. When you use the word I will, you are giving the impression of something you are going to do in the future. Now, when you now bring the word yesterday, you've confused the person listening to you because I will should not have gone with yesterday. So you bring a future tense and a past tense together. You see, there is no concord in this sentence. Another area where concord is very important is in terms of number. When you are referring to number of persons or things or places, you should also use words in the sentence that will reflect the number you are referring to. Look at this sentence. They live extravagantly, even though she is poor. This sentence has a problem. From the beginning, we see they referring to many persons. And towards the end of the sentence, we now see she is poor. The they and the she is not in agreement in terms of the number of persons being referred to. So there is no concord in this sentence. However, when we talk about concord, in most cases we are looking at the agreement between the subject of a sentence and the verb of the sentence. What it means is that if the subject of the sentence is singular, we are expecting the verb to be a singular verb. And if the subject of a sentence is plural, we are expecting the verb in the sentence to be plural as well. So when a subject is singular, we know that the subject is referring to one person, one place, or one thing. When it is plural, we now know that it is referring to more than a single person, a single place, or thing. Now, the big problem about singular subject is with the word I, that pronoun that refers to oneself. Oneself is a single person, isn't it? But when we use the word I, grammatically it is seen as a plural subject, so the verb must be plural. But where there is a lot of problem is on the verb itself. One of the problems we encounter is to identify a verb that is plural and a verb that is singular. Why the confusion arises is because the way we understand nouns to be singular and plural is not the way we should understand verbs that are singular and plural as well. When we talk about a singular noun, we know often they don't have S. Ball, boy, bag. To make these words plural, we add S to make them balls, boys, bags. It's very simple to understand. We also know that we can make plural of nouns by adding ES. When we have words like box, they become plural by adding ES to become boxes. When we have bus, it can become a plural by adding ES, it becomes buses. When we have church, we can also make it plural by adding ES, it becomes churches. It's very simple to understand. But in verbs, it is the direct opposite of what we do in nouns. Those verbs that have S or ES are not seen as plural verbs, rather, they are singular verbs. Now, those that do not have S or ES are now the ones we see as plural verbs. You see the opposite when you compare it with that of noun. Let's use the word go as an example. The word go has no S or ES, therefore it is a plural. The word go should go with a plural subject. If you have a singular subject, to turn the word go to a singular verb as well, you need to add ES. It becomes goes. Look at these two sentences. Samuel goes to school. Samuel is a singular subject, and that is why it goes with a singular verb, goes. The second sentence, they go to school. They is referring to more than one person, so it is a plural subject, and it must go with a plural verb, that is go. If this is just the problem with Concord, you will agree with me that Concord is very simple. But the problem is that sometimes sentences can be very complicated, that you find it difficult to know whether it has one subject or more than one subject. You know that it will help you to now decide which verb to use, whether to use a singular verb or a plural verb. Let's consider some sentences that can be complicated. Number 1. Everyone dash for work in the morning. Do we use everyone leaves for work in the morning? Or do we use everyone leave for work in the morning? It will depend on what we think about the subject. Is everyone a plural subject or a singular subject? Number 2. Each cake and soft drink dash to someone. each cake and soft drink dash to someone. Do we say belongs or do we say belong? Remember, we have cake and soft drink. One may see both of them joined by this coordinating conjunction and as a plural subject that should go with belong. What about the word each that started the sentence? Each gives the impression of singular, isn't it? That is why some other person may choose to use belongs as the right verb. Number 3, each dribble and pass dash an applause from the fans. Do we say each dribble and pass attracts an applause from the fans, or do we say each dribble and pass attracts an applause from the fans? Number 4, 5 kilometers dash a long distance. Is the correct sentence 5 kilometers is a long distance, or 5 kilometers are a long distance? Number 5, 10 liters of fuel dash not enough. 10 liters of fuel is not enough, or 10 liters of fuel are not enough. These are some of the problems we'll consider in our subsequent videos. Example number 6, bread and butter is or are my favorite. You see, the bread and the butter gives the impression of two things. That is a plural subject. If you think it's a plural subject, you will definitely go for are. If you think it is singular, you will go for is. Which one is correct? We'll find out in one of our subsequent videos. Number 7, rice and beans are his best food. This number 7 is similar to the problem of number 6. Number 8, the scissors are mine. Notice the way the scissors is spelled. It looks like plural, isn't it? So should we use are in that case, or should we use is if we think it is singular? We'll find out subsequently. Number 9, none of the houses is painted. Now look at the word houses. You'll notice that it is plural. Should we then use are for it so that the sentence will read, none of the houses are painted? Do you think it is correct? Now look at this word, none, 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 no house at all. If we consider it, it will be absurd for us to come back and use are. So which one is correct? We'll find out later. Number 10, neither the coach nor the players dash attending the clinic. Are or is. Neither the coach nor the players are or is attending the clinic. Look at where the confusion comes from. The coach is a singular subject, isn't it? Just a single person. Now look at this. Players, definitely referring to many persons. So we now have a case where our subjects are both singular and plural. And the coordinating conjunction and is not used. So which one do we go for? Are or is? We'll find out in our subsequent video. Number 11. Neither the girls nor their mother dash traveling. Neither the girls nor their mother is traveling. Or neither the girls nor their mother are traveling. Confusion, isn't it? We'll find out. Number 12. The container along with other goods dash expected to reach the port today. The container along with other goods is expected to reach the port today. Or the container along with other goods are expected to reach the port today. Why is this sentence challenging? You will notice that the first subject, the container, is singular. But along the sentence, we now have goods, plural. So most times, we find it difficult to know whether we should use is or are. Remember, we'll find solution to this problem in one of our subsequent videos. Number 13, the staff. And when we talk about staff, we are referring to workers. The staff are angry with the management, or the staff is angry with the management. We'll find out the correct one later. Number 14, a number of doctors dash been invited to the conference. Do we say a number of doctors have been invited to the conference? When we say so, maybe because we are considering doctors being plural. But then, some other person might consider this first word, a. We use a for one thing: a boy, a book, a chair, a number. So some other person might say a number of doctors has been invited to the conference, using the singular verb has. Which one is correct? We'll find out later. Number 15, lots of water dash through the channel when it rains. Lots of water passes through the channel when it rains. Or lots of water pass through the channel when it rains. Water, an uncountable noun. And this word lots is the source of confusion. We find out in one of our subsequent videos. Number 16. Everybody dash his name. Everybody knows his name, or everybody know his name. The confusion is, should we see the word everybody as a singular subject or as a plural subject? We'll find the answer in one of our subsequent videos. Number 17, the political party, the electorates, or the candidate dash responsible for his failure. Now look at this sentence. Political party is one of the subjects. Electorates, plural, is another subject. And candidate, singular, is the third subject. So do we go for a singular verb is, or do we go for a plural verb are? We'll find out in one of our subsequent videos. Number 18, a pair of scissors is or are on the table. When we consider a pair, the word a and pair, we may be tempted to use is. But when we consider the word scissors, that is spelled as if it's a plural, we might be tempted to use are. Which one is correct? Definitely we'll find out later. Number 19, which is the last but not the least in the examples, more than 1 oranges is or are here. The word one should go with is, but we have oranges. Are they not supposed to go with are? That is where the confusion is. We will definitely find out subsequently. Now that we have considered some of those sentences that can be very confusing, are you downhearted? Don't be. Because our next 2 videos will help you to understand when to use a singular verb and when to use a plural verb. This is where the curtain falls on today's video. In our next video, we are going to consider how to identify when to use a singular verb in a sentence. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.